Hello friends, welcome to EduFriend Law, the best platform for studies of law. If you want to attend our live session, then you can contact in the number given in the description. Now, this is the lecture 5 of the video lecture series of CPC, where we are discussing the entire civil procedure code. This lecture is useful for the judicial service exam and other law exams. Now, to move ahead, the concept of res judicata has been dealt under section 11 of CPC. Section 11 of CPC. This is a very important concept, and many questions comes from this topic in various exams, especially in the judicial services. तो ये सेक्शन 11 और रेस जुडिकाटा कहता क्या है? रेस जुडिकाटा ये कहता है कि किसी भी डिसीजन, किसी भी मैटर पे अगर कोर्ट का एक फाइनल डिसीजन आ चुका है तो ऑन द सेम मैटर अनदर प्रोसीडिंग विल नॉट बी अलाउड और अनदर कोर्ट केस विल नॉट बी अलाउड। ठीक है, तो ये एक इसका अंडरलाइन जो प्रिंसिपल है, वो ये है कि टू प्रिवेंट multiplicity of proceeding. द मल्टीप्लिसिटी ऑफ प्रोसीडिंग्स, वो इसलिए ये फॉलो इसलिए किया जाता है बिकॉज इट इज इन द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ द स्टेट एज वेल एज द पब्लिक कि जो मल्टीप्लिसिटी ऑफ प्रोसीडिंग है उसको रिड्यूस किया जाए, ताकि बहुत क्विकली जितना जल्दी हो सके बाकी केसेस, बाकी जो डिस्प्यूट है वो सॉल्व हो सके और कोर्ट का और स्टेट का जो वैल्यूएबल टाइम है वो वेस्ट ना हो। ठीक है, अब अकॉर्डिंग टू सेक्शन 11 what are the elements of res judicata? What are the elements of res judicata? The first element is that there has to be two suits. There has to be two suits. One is former and the other one is subsequent. Other one is subsequent. तो ये अगर दो सूट्स फाइल होता है, एक फॉर्मर एक सब्सिक्वेंट, तो सब्सिक्वेंट एंड द फॉर्मर सूट हैज बीन फाइनली डिसाइडेड बाय अ कॉम्पिटेंट कोर्ट, देन द सब्सिक्वेंट सूट इज barred. तो इन रिलेशन टू दिस प्रोविजन there is this explanation one under section 11. तो एक्सप्लेनेशन 1 ये कहता है कि फॉर्मर सूट किसको माना जाएगा और सब्सिक्वेंट सूट किसको माना जाएगा। तो एक्सप्लेनेशन 1 ये कहता है कि फॉर्मर सूट का मतलब ये नहीं कि दिस सूट हैज बीन फाइल्ड बिफोर दिस सूट। फॉर्मर सूट का मतलब वो होता है कि अगर दो सूट फाइल हुआ है एंड टू सूट्स आर रनिंग एट द सेम टाइम साइमल्टेनियसली, तो फॉर्मर सूट वो होता है जिसकी जजमेंट या फाइनल डिसीजन पहले आया हुआ होता है। तो अगर जो सब्सिक्वेंट सूट है वो अगर फॉर्मर सूट से पहले भी अगर फाइल किया गया हो, लेकिन फॉर्मर सूट का जजमेंट पहले आ गया हो, तो ये सूट जो जिसका जजमेंट पहले आया है दैट विल बी कॉल्ड अ फॉर्मर सूट। ठीक है, अंडरस्टैंडिंग? नाउ द सेकंड एलिमेंट इज दैट same parties or anyone claiming under them. Anyone claiming under them. तो इसका क्या मतलब हुआ कि सेम पार्टी, सपोज ए और बी के बीच एक डिस्प्यूट है रिगार्डिंग द ओनरशिप ऑफ दिस हाउस, ownership of the house X. Now, a suit is filed and the court's decision comes, it comes in favor of A, right? Now, any suit, any subsequent suit between A and B is barred regarding the same issue. Now, suppose after few years, the son of B again files a suit against the son of A. Now, apparently, it appears that the parties has changed because in the former suit the party was B and A, and now in the subsequent suit the parties are BS and AS, right? But here it is important, anyone claiming under them. ठीक है, तो अगर ऐसे इसको अलाउ कर दिया जाएगा तो फिर the principle of res judicata will be nullified. तो इसलिए ये कहा गया कि anyone claiming under them, because the son of B is claiming under B and the son of A is claiming under A, so the suit between BS and AS regarding the same matter in issue, same matter, will also be barred. Will also be barred because that has been provided, that is the principle of res judicata. So here res judicata will apply, right? Number 3. Now the point number 3 or the element number 3 is very important. Same title. Same title. Okay. So what is title that we have discussed in our first lecture in the element of civil suit. अगर आपने वो वीडियो नहीं देखा हो तो प्लीज वो वीडियो देख लीजिए, दैट इज द लेक्चर 1. वहां पे टाइटल, पार्टी, मैटर इन इशू, सब्जेक्ट मैटर, जो एक सिविल सूट के जो एलिमेंट होता है उसके बारे में डिटेल में डिस्कस किया गया है. ठीक है, तो रेस जुडिकेटा का थर्ड एलिमेंट है देयर हैज टू बी सेम टाइटल बिटवीन दीज पार्टीज. तो टाइटल का क्या मतलब हुआ? लीगल कैपेसिटी. टाइटल का मतलब लीगल कैपेसिटी. Legal capacity. Now suppose in a former suit A has filed a suit against B for the possession of a particular property. A has filed a suit against B for the possession of a particular property called X. In this former suit, the A is claiming himself to be the owner of the property and B is in adverse possession. Now, in the former suit, the judgment or the decision of the court came in favor of B and A का जो suit है उस suit को dismiss कर दिया गया. The suit filed by A was dismissed. Now, in a subsequent suit, A filed another suit in the court, and in that suit, A claimed that A should have the possession of X as there is a lease. So now, in the subsequent suit, A is claiming the possession of the property as a leasee against the same person, that is B. Now the question is, will the subsequent suit be allowed or not? ठीक है, so section 11 ये कहता है कि अगर ए और बी के बीच टाइटल फॉर्मर सूट और सब्सिक्वेंट सूट में सेम होता तो वो रेस जुडिकेटा अप्लाई होता, लेकिन in this case in the former suit the title of A was owner, whereas in the subsequent suit the title of A is leasee, ठीक है, and B का title leaser. So as the titles are changing, so their res judicata will not apply and the suit will be allowed. ठीक है, अगर टाइटल सेम होता तो ये सूट बार्ड होता बिकॉज रेस जुडिकेटा अप्लाई होता, ठीक है दोस्तों. सो दिस इज सेम टाइटल, ठीक है. नेक्स्ट कम टू एलिमेंट नंबर 4. द सेम मैटर इन इशू, same matter in issue which was directly and substantially which was directly and substantially in issue both in the former as well as the subsequent suit. ठीक है, तो मैटर इन इशू के बारे में तो हमने पहले लेक्चर 1 में डिटेल में डिस्कस किया है. तो मैटर इन इशू क्या है? मैटर इन इशू इज ऑल दोज थिंग्स व्हिच द प्लेंटिफ नीड्स टू प्रूव हिज कॉज ऑफ एक्शन or prove his case and the defendant needs to form his defense. So in this regard, explanation 3 has been given under section 11. तो explanation 3 में बोला ये जा रहा है कि any matter in issue will be those matters which has been alleged by one party and either admitted or denied by the other party. Either admitted or denied by the other party. Okay, so those are the matter in issue, right? Now, while studying the matter in issue, the explanation 4 becomes very important because matter in issue agar directly and substantially in which both former and subsequent suit में, then it will be barred. इसका मतलब ये कहता है, suppose there is a suit between A and B for possession of this property, right? Now, the allegation made by A is that B is in adverse possession. B is in adverse possession. And in the former suit, the court dismissed this suit. Now, on the same matter in issue, on the same allegation, a subsequent suit will not be allowed. Okay. But explanation 4 gives a proper explanation of the clause of same matter in issue. And the underlying principle under explanation 4 is called constructive res judicata. Constructive res judicata. And this constructive res judicata is also very important from the point of view of exam, like judiciary and other law exams. ठीक है, तो constructive res judicata ये कहता है कि suppose in a former suit some issues were alleged and some issues were left behind. Some issues were not alleged. Although those issues should have been alleged, although those issues should have been brought into consideration in the court, but they were not brought into consideration by the party. Then in the subsequent suit, those issues which had not been brought into consideration in the former suit, although they should have been, but they have not been brought into consideration, अगर उन सारे issues पे अगर एक subsequent suit file किया जाता है, तो the res judicata will apply, because that will be construed as a constructive res judicata. Let us take an example and we will understand this thing. Suppose there is a contract between X and Y. There is a contract between X and Y. Now X is claiming that the contract is voidable. X is claiming that the contract is a voidable contract. Why? X has alleged in the former suit. In the former suit, X alleged that the contract is voidable because X had been the consent of X was not a free consent, because Y has committed undue influence. Y has committed undue influence over X, and thus it is a voidable contract, and X wants to make the contract void. Now in the former suit, the court, the judgment of the final decision of the court came in favor of Y. That means the suit was dismissed, और X की जो claim है undue influence, उनके claim को dismiss कर दिया गया. Now X files a subsequent suit. X files a subsequent suit. He claims the same thing, that the contract is a voidable contract. But this time, X alleged that Y has committed fraud. Y has committed fraud on X. तो जैसे कि हम सबको पता है, अंडर इंडियन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट, अनड्यू इन्फ्लुएंस, कोएर्शन, फ्रॉड, मिसरिप्रेजेंटेशन, इन सारी चीजों पे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वॉइडेबल बन जाता है. तो इन द फॉर्मर सूट एक्स ने फ्रॉड की जो एलिगेशन है वो उन्होंने रेज नहीं किया था, उन्होंने सिर्फ अनड्यू इन्फ्लुएंस का मैटर को रेज किया था. ठीक है. सो इन द फॉर्मर सूट द मैटर इन इशू वाज अनड्यू इन्फ्लुएंस, एंड इन द सब्सिक्वेंट सूट द मैटर इन इशू इज फ्रॉड. They are different, but the constructive res judicata is saying that the issue of fraud should have been raised in the subsequent suit itself, although it was not raised. So even if it was not raised, the subsequent suit will be barred under fraud, because the constructive res judicata will apply in this matter. Getting? However, suppose in another example, A and B, A files a suit against B for the possession of a property X. Right. Now, in the former suit, X is claiming possession of the house as owner. The suit is dismissed. But in the subsequent suit, A is claiming the possession of this property as a leasee. Okay. Now the question is whether the constructive res judicata will apply in this case as well or not, because A is claiming possession in both the former and subsequent suit. ठीक है. और यहाँ पे उनका जो मैटर इन इशू था, यहाँ पे मैटर इन इशू डिफरेंट है, लेकिन क्वेश्चन ये है कि क्या दिस मैटर इन इशू शुड हैव बीन रेज्ड इन दिस इशू इन दिस फॉर्मर सूट और नॉट. नाउ हियर, according to section 11, According to section 11, the res judicata will not apply. Will not apply. That is, the subsequent suit will be allowed. Why? Because here there is a change in title. As we have explained earlier, जहां पे टाइटल चेंज हो जाता है, अगर टाइटल चेंज हो जाता है तो उस जगह पे कॉन्स्ट्रक्टिव रेस जुडिकेटा अप्लाई नहीं होगा. लेकिन इन द फॉर्मर एग्जांपल, इन दिस एग्जांपल, यहाँ पे टाइटल चेंज नहीं हो रहा है. एक्स का टाइटल फॉर्मर सूट में भी पार्टी टू कॉन्ट्रैक्ट था, पार्टी टू कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, और सब्सिक्वेंट सूट में भी पार्टी टू कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, टाइटल सेम ही था. तो यहाँ पे कॉन्स्ट्रक्टिव रेस जुडिकेटा अप्लाई होगा. लेकिन अगर टाइटल चेंज हो जाता है तो यहाँ पे कॉन्स्ट्रक्टिव रेस जुडिकेटा अप्लाई नहीं होगा. ठीक है. नाउ लेट्स कम टू द नेक्स्ट एलिमेंट. नेक्स्ट एलिमेंट, the decision of the former suit should have been final. The decision in the former suit should be final and conclusive. That means the issue has been heard. The issue has been heard, evidences admitted, and then final decision has been taken by the court. Final decision has been taken by the court on merit, on merit of the case, on merit of the case. ठीक है. So that means in the former suit final decision should have been taken. So if a suit has been dismissed, if a suit is dismissed for default, if suit is dismissed for default, that is for absence of parties, so in that case it will not be said that in the former suit the final decision has been taken, क्योंकि उसमें मेरिट पे, केस के मेरिट पे डिसीजन नहीं लिया गया है और एविडेंसेस उसमें एडमिट नहीं किया गया. द डिफॉल्ट, दिस डिफॉल्ट प्रोविजन, दिस इज अ टेक्निकल इशू, दिस इज प्रोसीजरल और टेक्निकल. तो प्रोसीजरल और टेक्निकल या टेक्निकल ग्राउंड पे अगर कोई डिसीजन लिया गया है तो उसको नहीं कहा जाएगा कि इट इज अ फाइनल एंड कंक्लूसिव डिसीजन. तो इन अगर डिफॉल्ट पे सूट को डिसमिस किया गया है तो रेस जुडिकेटा विल नॉट अप्लाई. तो रेस जुडिकेटा will not apply and the subsequent suit will be allowed. The subsequent suit will be allowed. ठीक है दोस्तों. Now let's come to our final element, that is element number 6. Element number 6, competent court. Competent कोर्ट. तो यहाँ पे जब कॉम्पिटेंसी, कोर्ट की कॉम्पिटेंसी की बात आ रही है, तो जहां पे कॉम्पिटेंसी की बात आती है तो वहां पे सब्जेक्ट मैटर जुरिस्डिक्शन, and pecuniary jurisdiction is taken into account. Not territorial jurisdiction. Subject matter jurisdiction and pecuniary jurisdiction is taken into account. तो यहाँ पे बोला जा रहा है कि if the court where the former suit was filed is competent to try the subsequent suit, if the court where former suit was decided, is competent to try the subsequent suit. Is competent to try the subsequent suit, then the res judicata will apply. Then the res judicata will apply. That means the subsequent suit will be barred. The subsequent suit will be barred. Now suppose there is an example. Let us take an example and let us understand the problem. Suppose A और B के बीच एक dispute था. Now this dispute is related to some property. Now in the court, in the former suit, a decision was given by a court X. X court ने एक decision दिया. Now the pecuniary jurisdiction of the court X is, let us suppose 2 lakh rupees. Rupees 2 lakh. That is the highest pecuniary jurisdiction of the court X. And when this dispute was going on in the former suit, the valuation of this property was 1 lakh rupees. Right. Now, in a subsequent suit, once again the same matter in issue came before the court. But in this gap of time period, inflation has taken place. And the valuation of this property has reached from 1 lakh to 4 lakh. 1 lakh to 4 lakh. Now look at the language of the section 11. If the court where the former suit was decided, that is the court X, is competent to try the subsequent suit. तो यहाँ पे subsequent, तो former suit में तो valuation, suit का valuation 1 लाख था. लेकिन subsequent suit में suit का valuation कितना है? 4 लाख है. Right. तो क्या इस एग्जाम्पल पे ये कंडीशन फुलफिल कर रहा है? Is the court X is competent to try the subsequent suit? According to pecuniary jurisdiction, no. But if we allow this to happen, then there will always be inflation, there will always be such disparity, right? So to solve this problem, explanation 8 is there. Explanation 8 is there, and the explanation 8 is about this court of limited jurisdiction. So under section 8, दिस हैज बीन अलाउड, ठीक है। और यहाँ पे अंडर सेक्शन लिमिटेड जुरिस्डिक्शन में ये बोला जा रहा है कि सब्सिक्वेंट सूट पे भी ये डिस अलाउ किया जाएगा। तो यहाँ पे रेस जुडिकेटा अप्लाई होगा, यहाँ पे रेस जुडिकेटा अप्लाई होगा। और although it is beyond the pecuniary jurisdiction of this former court, but still this res judicata will apply. There are some explanation. Under those explanation ये कहा जा रहा है कि the parties we talked about, in the parties it was mentioned that there has to be same parties, right? So explanation 6, according to explanation 6, res judicata will apply. According to explanation 6, res judicata will apply in representative suit as well. In representative suit as well. ठीक है। According to explanation 7, the res judicata will apply in execution proceedings as well. In execution proceeding as well, right? Another question comes whether res judicata will apply under consent decree or not. In the consent decree, whether res judicata applies or not. Now the court's decision is that in consent decree the issue has not been finally heard and decided by the court, right? So in this case res judicata will not apply. In this case res judicata will not apply. But still the subsequent suit will be barred. Why? Because in this case estoppel will apply. In this case estoppel will apply. So finally the subsequent suit will be barred. So this is all about section 11, that is res judicata. Thank you.